Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And it's an honor for me representing my team. First time in Warsaw, by the way. So amazing city. I've been here, I don't know, like for 12 hours or something. So at least the time I have spent here, I'm amazed by your architecture, and the city is beautiful. So again, I'm representing my team, Anagrama. So I'll tell you about myself briefly. I'm Daniela Garza. I'm a graphic designer. I'm 27 years old. And my role in the agency, well, it's like multidisciplinary role. I'm in charge of, I'm part of the art direction team, also project manager, account manager. Now I'm in sales, something that I never thought I would be in charge of. And I'm Mexican. And this is my dog. I couldn't bring him, but I saw some of you bring your own dogs, which I think it's super cute. So I'm here to talk about memorable design, mostly focused on packaging, which is one of the branches of this beautiful industry. So maybe some of you do not have any idea who we are. So I will give you a quick introduction of my team, of Anagrama. So this is my second family. This is Sebastian, one of the partners. That's me. Gustavo, Mike, Roberto Treviño, the other Roberto, Carolina, and David, okay? I'll let you know who is in charge of which part of the agency later. So these are our three main areas of the studio. Of course, branding is the core of the business, actually. Inside branding services, we focus on branding strategy, identity design, editorial, packaging. Regarding architecture, we focus on public architecture, commercial architecture. We also have an interactive unit in the studio, focuses on informative websites, e-commerce, bespoke platforms, and other special services such as fashion, multimedia, copywriting, etc. Okay, we believe in strategy, beauty, and deadlines. Our not favorite word, but at the end it's super important, and I will talk about you later too. So just to give you a reference of our work, the good thing about working in this industry is that the possibilities of the different kinds of projects are infinite. So we have developed projects for departments like this one, fashion branding, like Armani Exchange, some packaging, editorial projects, fashion stores like this one, hotels, boutique hotels, industrial designers, some startups, technology devices, of course, tequila, some beer, why not? Beauty industry, a library. This project gave us an award a few years ago. It's one of my favorite. If you visit Monterrey sometime, you should go there. Another library. So everywhere, everything, and everyone. Thanks, Internet, I will say. Our work has been shared in different platforms that bring us the opportunity to work around the world. And as Mexicans, it's like a huge thing for us. So we have been working in different cities and places around the world, like Belgium, Thailand, Japan, Poland, Chile, Austria, etc. We have offices in Monterrey and Mexico City. So just to give you a context, in case probably a lot of people here have never, ever, ever been in Mexico. So just to give you a quick insight of that. So Monterrey is just right there, like 2 hours from US. Serves as a commercial center of northern Mexico. It's an industrial city. We are Americanized culture and prominent position in sectors such as steel, cement, glass, auto parts, I know it sounds like boring, but Monterrey moves a lot of money in Mexico. And Mexico City is more into the center of the map. We are the fourth largest city in the world, capital of design 2018, which is perfect. City with largest amount of museums in America and second largest amount in the world. Fun fact, we have a lot of museums. The largest amount of palaces in the continent. So you visit Mexico City, you will be surprised. So we're celebrating our 10th anniversary. Like, this is the year we accomplished our year number 10. We feel super proud about it. This is the first office we used to have, 2009. Lots of years ago, I'll say. I'm right there. And when I joined the company, we were only like 5 people. So we start super small. And I'm going to give you a brief story of how I ended here. When I was 18 years old, I decided to take the Sebastian class. Sebastian is that guy with the black T-shirt, like sitting just next to me. And he was cruel, like the worst teacher at my university. Like, I thought he hated me because he was very pushy and he never liked anything. He was like only giving us very bad grades, and I obsessed with his philosophy. And in some point, we start getting along very well, and he told me like, hey, you should do your intern with me. And I was like, okay, why not? So I started working at Anagrama, first as an intern, then 10 years later, hello, still here. And on the year number 6, they offered me to be part of the partnership. So that's why I'm still here. And I feel very, very happy with my decision. And at the end, growing in an established company, it's also great. You know, probably a lot of people, or a lot of you are planning to open your own studios. Maybe you already have your own studios, which is great. But growing in a company, it's also a good idea. Today, we're 40 creatives. This is my team. You can see a lot of diversity in different faces. And I love them, all of them. I mean, it's part of us. So, young mind, wild souls. I'll say that because our average date is around 25 years old. So we're a young agency, and we feel proud about it. Of course, we like to spend time together, not only working at the studio, but you know, having some parties, getting along together, everyone. These are more photos of unforgettable moments of Anagrama. And part of our philosophy is that we actually don't sugarcoat anything. And for me, it was kind of hard to understand when I started working in Anagrama, because sometimes it's very easy to take personal every feedback you receive. Like, your work is not good at all. Like, start from 0, and you're like crying in your car, you know, been there, done that. And then you start understanding that it's actually, it's part of growing and learning and get new knowledge when you start receiving the feedback you have. Sometimes it's bad feedback. Sometimes it's good feedback. But at the end, keep a brutal honesty conversation with your team and with your clients. It's part of the job. So read, like, pin, share, and print. We have been published more than a lot of times, from rare covers to the most widely read newspapers. That's the home of Behance. We normally are in the home. We update our portfolio every Tuesday. So every Tuesday, this is changing. But we have a lot of good feedback from the internet. And yeah, it feels great. We are tech nerds, too. This is one of the partners, also one of the founders. He's crazy. He's an engineer, and he developed a device to control your pancreas health. I know it sounds super weird, but if you have time and you feel curiosity about it, you can visit his website. It's bustavo.com. He also has spent time giving some conferences and speaks about it. He's a genius, and he's part of the culture of the agency, too. Our main goal as a branding agency is to develop fascinating experiences through memorable design. It's our most important tool. So packaging is key when a consumer starts relating to a product. In this world where everything happens so fast, we aim to transform that brief and specific moment into a memory that stays forever. It's very easy. Product, people, connection. It sounds ultra romantic, I know, but it totally works, and it's very easy, actually. So how we do it? And I will explain how Anagrama do it, but probably there's a lot of different processes and approaches in this industry, but I will let you know how we do it, okay? So we follow this list you see here. We start, of course, with the briefing. So let's talk about brief. Briefing is about taking a deep dive into our clients' minds. As professionals, we focus our attention on our clients' communication needs, their main objectives, goals, brand values, all that important stuff. But the real deal is finding a hidden message. It's like reading minds, literally. For example, we have these kind of questions in our branding brief. If your brand or company happened to be a fictitious character or celebrity, who would it be? The answers were all the same. And this is real facts, okay? Steve Jobs, Iron Man, Jennifer Lawrence, not kidding. These are like the top 3 answers we receive in our briefs. And it's like, why? Different clients from distinct parts of the world, context, and of course, products or services. But why they all want it to be the same? We really don't think so. So it's all about a creative, out-of-the-box translation. And I think it's part of understanding the roles in an agency. Sometimes there are creative people that are expert to execute, and they are crazy of sketching and creating beautiful, beautiful design. But then we have other kinds of profiles, that people that like and enjoy conversations, and that take the time to analyze what the client is looking. So why did the client choose this character? Is it about the look, behavior, personality? Literally is expected, and most times conventional. Research and clear conclusions are vital. But pressing the right buttons to wake the mind and question everything is beautiful. And it's part of the briefing. It's not only read papers and read it. It's to get a deep understanding of it. You might find your first ideas there. Evaluate the strengths, weaknesses, the good and the bad. Everything could turn into the first step for a great idea. Subjectivity, of course, we hate subjectivity, is a common situation during branding processes. For example, luxurious for some people could be this, like amazing department with the skyline of the city in Manhattan, like beautiful, very Scandinavian look-like furniture. Or for other people, could be a very nice cabin in the middle of the woods, no sounds, no people, only nature, like more wood, more cozy furniture, etc. So this could be luxurious for someone, and the other example could be for other one. So that's so important for us, creative people, to understand. None of them are wrong, of course, but a well-guided brief might transform subjectivity into objectivity. That takes us to number 2, concept. A good concept execution would accomplish the hardest job, starting a conversation between the consumer and the product. Yes, the product itself plays an essential role in the process, but in terms of placing the product, it could be irrelevant to some point. Within a shelf or a point of sale, visual affection will be crucial. You need to connect with the people that is actually looking at you. So the outfit needs to be perfect. But these are Pinterest and other kind of platforms allows people to, I mean, everyone can have a nice logo. Everyone can have a flashy color palette, a clever type selection. It's not, I mean, everyone can just open Photoshop and try something and will be kind of good. So what's going to be the difference? We need to add an extra ingredient into the mix. The number 3 in the list will be Anagrama element. We call it that way, obviously works for us, but you can put the name you want. The hardest road is the one that gets you farther. Looking for answers and defining creative strategies all these years naturally led us to this conclusion. A real secret ingredient, Anagrama element. So we call our secret ingredient, we place them in this second list. We start, when we start a project, during the process, I mean, we already have the research part, and then we are ready to start the execution. We move on with this second list, starting with, obviously, the logotype, typography, color palette, patterns, or adding elements, and Anagrama element. So what about this 5th element? It consists of breaking away from the standard, away from the normal, and turn it into the unexpected. There is philosophy and science behind this method, and I love this part because we find this guy that actually talks about it very clearly, so we added into our speech because of that. So according to Daniel Dennett, American philosopher, it's all about cognitive science. What is cognitive science? Is an interdisciplinary scientific study of the mind and its processes. Cognitive scientists study intelligence and behavior, human behavior, with a focus on how nervous systems are shown through processes and transform information. In one of his books, he presents humor as a cognitive event, and that means that when an unconscious assumption turns out to be a mistake, the brain receives unexpected information. It's like you are not supposed to see that, or you are not supposed to read that, or to find that color, or it's something that breaks totally like the order of things, the normal, let's say. So the new concept is received, and consequently develops an emotion. It's like an explosion, literally. It's like something that needs to connect, but it's like, I don't know, like the plan B normally in your head. We believe it happens the same with design and packaging. A couple of years ago, and this is an example, we received a request for a Mexican bakery and candy shop. Not sure you're familiar with this, actually, but, well, it was a project developed by Hyatt Hotels. As any other project, we started doing research, understanding the product. So it looks like something like that. Like, I don't know if you're familiar, like, it's like little pigs. It's a normal piece of bread in Mexico. It's like a sweet bread. Then we have the candies, of course. Lots of color, lots of textures, and obviously it's ultra delicious. So looking for references and inspiration, analyzing the competitors, our goal was to transform one of the most famous Mexican traditions into something totally different, high-end, sophisticated, etc. So that's how Amado was born. Do you remember the list? OK, let's explain where element is exactly placed in this process. So we start with the typography analyzing. We decide to move on with Amado as a name, and I will tell you why. Amado Nervo, he was a poet, a Mexican poet, and we believe connects very well with the romantic part we want to use and place into the project. So we move on with serif typography selection, since we consider connects very well with the concept. Then, for the logotype, we decide to move on with more condensed styles, trying to remember antique Mexican types. Of course, we need color. We are Mexicans, the project is Mexican. Let's go wild with colors. Some papers, cut papers is like a tradition for celebration parties in Mexico. So we use that element too. And some postal details, antique postal details. And these are the results. So this is our logotype, and this is our stationery. You will see probably a very conceptual abstraction of the paper cut I just showed you. Lots of colors. We also took some references for Barragan. Not sure if there are architects here that know Barragan work or portfolio, but it's beautiful. So we see a lot of geometric elements. There are some things that remembers the postal details we add into the project. But again, it's an abstraction. We don't like doing things literally. So this is actually a zoom of one of the packaging, a little box. Then we have more packaging, more boxes, more behavior, more brand behavior. And at the end, you have a wider family of elements to play with in your project. And following the same formula, we have other examples. One that actually is recently is maca. Maca means give in Nahuatl, one of the most antique languages in Mexico. So first of all, we use this little bird as reference. It's a Mexican species of bird named Tzintzíncan. Probably I'm pronouncing wrong, but something like that. And we decided to move on with sans serif type since we were looking at a modern approach. Carlos Mérida, this is an artist, and I'm always saying this in my workshops and with my team. Doing research is one of the most important parts of this industry. Everyone can create a nice logo, again, but you as a creative needs to be like trying to find information like under the rocks, literally. Like no matter if you're not an architect, no matter if you're an artist or a chef, like trying to find interesting people, interesting textures, it's all the difference. So one of the partners bring that reference from Carlos Mérida. He's famous because of his muralism. He spent a lot of time in Mexico, and all his work in Mexico is very known. Since Maca is an ONG brand, we were looking to put some human touch, helping each other. All the profits of the company helps communities in Mexico. And some other layout details from like these industrial labels, like normally brandless, but we find very interesting layouts going on there, so we took them as reference. And these are the results. You can see how we put that together, like in a blend machine, and then you have that. So it's a very simplistic conclusion. At the end, we have the bird there. We decide the bird will be our icon. We have our layout, very clean, industrial, and things like a barcode that normally designers hate. We put it in the front and place it beautifully, in my opinion, of course. These are more details of the project, our business cards. These are all photographs, by the way. Some business cards. And there are other examples of the brand behavior of the back of the bottle, because part of the objective of the brand is to help different communities. So depending on the kind of project they are supporting in a specific time or period, they change the illustration behind the bottle. Another project, a good example will be Jim Jams. So again, our main reference was like this brush texture that you normally find when you don't have more ink. Sans serif type, of course, modernism type reference. Some colors that evokes or remembers sports, since Jim Jams is a brand dedicated for fashion, but focus on sports. The Coach like sketchbook, all this kind of style of drawing was part of our concept. You will see later. And some reference from the boards, the game boards you see in stadiums, and we want to bring that feeling into a brand. So this is the results. As you can see, you will find how the Coach drawings are over there in a very simplistic way. This is the pattern we developed. And we're very sketchy. We actually spent half of the process in paper. We're kind of old school about that, but we believe we normally have better results when we do it that way. This is the packaging, more packaging. This is a website. And the good thing about doing this list is that, again, you will have a wider family of elements, and you can play around them in your website, in your different applications, packaging, etc. This is a magazine, some brand behavior, boutique bags, and the store. We were worried about the color, since it's a brand dedicated to create fashion and create T-shirts with prints. We were worried about that maybe it's going to be too much when they have their products there. So we find out a very interesting way to show the different items they have. First of all, we dedicate an entire wall to place the T-shirts. And then we have lockers, so they can use, since it's a small store, they can use it to keep the other sizes and everything. And the color is only in the insides of the lockers. This is other part of the store. Lighting details with the pattern and the store. El Vetimar is another good example. Our first element was the cornucopia symbol, which means abundance. Then we decided to move on with a serif selection, high contrast serif. In this case, it's a store dedicated to sell premium products in Switzerland. So every product corresponds to different regions of Switzerland. So we took that as a main graphic element. We literally took the original flags. Some details on the chalets. It's an architecture idea there. Again, it's always good to have a wider encyclopedia in your mind of possibilities. So we find very interesting elements in these chalets. And some grid system and some rules of Scandinavian design, of course. So this is the results. At the end, we decide to move on with an abstraction of a cornucopia symbol with a very nice and clean type. This is the iconic system we developed, and every icon corresponds to a different region. So in the store, you will find specifically the products of each region in a specific shelf. This is the packaging. The flags are placed depending on what you're buying in the store. This is more applications of the brand. The invitation when they open the store. Boutique bag, more packaging. More packaging. And the good thing about having this pattern and this grid system behind the construction of the brand allows us to make a system that actually you can bring more and more packaging into the system and it's still working very well. Another example will be Kindo, one of my favorites. First of all, kids. Kids will be important since it's a brand dedicated to sell clothes and accessories for kids, premium products. So our first element was a kid. Like, based on that, we developed the name, Kindo, which means kind, kinder, kid. It's a combination of letters that reminds you immediately that we are talking about children here. Some sans serif selection. We were trying to get a modern and a fresh approach. Some pastel colors, because connects with like kindness. They are super friendly. So we decided to move on with pastels, but giving some touches of neons. It's my favorite Pantone guide, by the way, pastels and neons. And you probably remember that toy if you have ever visited a dentist. It's like a typical classical toy you find there. So it's one of our main elements in this project. And some beds and gems, like it's an abstraction of the toy, right? So this is a final project. We developed a very simplistic layout on the logotype. And this is a store. These are photos. I know it looks like renders, but these are photos. Some packaging, some brand applications, more details of the store. You probably already seeing the reference from the tool. Some other shots on the store. A detailed look on the packaging. It's like a 2D version of the toy. Actually, you will see the beds there. And this is a store from other angle. More packaging, store details, and workflow. I know a lot of the other speakers have talked about this, and I will say it's ultra, super important. So workflow. Anagrama is a self-made studio. I already show you a photo of our first office. Our first office was like I don't know, half of the stage. It was super small. And we started learning from our mistakes, literally. So we started from nothing in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of bad timing, hard economy. And as fun fact, in Mexico, design as a discipline started in 1968. I don't know if you're familiar with this logo, but for us, it totally changed Mexico history on design specifically. It's a project developed by Lance Wyman, a master, of course. So in the absence of an established design industry, local studios had to come up with their own methods, for good and the bad. Without knowing how things being run in formal studios in the US and Europe, we didn't like Basecamp, we hated it, actually. And there was not enough space for Post-it notes and our blackboards. We were just going crazy, deadlines, people, the designers, the phone ringing all the time. It was kind of hard. So we urgently needed a multitasking robot that could take care of our administration and quoting process that actually it's like taking you normally a lot of time, and we wanted to focus on develop creativity projects, so we need to fix that immediately. So after testing and working hard on this project, we built our own workflow from ground zero. We named it Gallant. This is Gallant. Actually, it's online. If you want to visit the website, you can do it. We are testing the software right now, so I think it's like free or something. But it's a system that allows you to organize. It's beautiful. So today, the studio's complete work process is tied to Gallant, a single software that let us keep client data, share realistic timeframes to our clients. I mean, being very honest with timeframes is something important. Quoting processes. We do not spend more than 15 minutes to create a quote. Administer talent and experiential learning. So how does everything works? The system is based on airlines' algorithms. I know it sounds weird, but I will explain you how. Considering factors such as season, client size, origin, and internal sales goals, the robot, or Gallant, let's say, helps you to manage if the prices are lower or higher depending the season, the quantity of current clients. So it's crazy. It's actually very helpful. So Anagrama is not about the partners or specific individuals. I mean, we normally, I have received this feedback, but people normally do not see so much of our faces. We focus on the quality of our projects in our homepage or in our social media. But Anagrama, the real thing is that it's about the workflow. We love packaging, and we have been giving a gift by previous generations in the entire world. So, and as a creatives, we must keep building a visual culture. 10 years ago, our main goal was to upgrade Mexico's visual culture. Today, we want to upgrade the world's visual culture too. And we think we are on it. And so do everyone here do it. So thank you so much.